Kelly, how the hell are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, welcome back. We're making a habit. On the
I
last episode
know.
on the last episode on Friday we had Alan Devan, who's also done a couple of episodes before as well. So we're making a habit. We're circling back around to
Good
all
stuff.
the original gangsters of the Gym Advisors.
Why not, sure?
So I'll ask you the same question then as I asked Alan. How the hell are you, and how has lockdown been for you?
Not too bad. Listen, I think I always say you have kind of two choices when it comes to something like this. You can kind of sit and dwell, or you can live and grow. And it's up to you as to which choice you want to take. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit and dwell because it's not going to get me anywhere. I think this is the time that we can also look at different opportunities and just see what else we could do differently and change. And we have the time to do it now. So if that and it's an opportunity, really, then that, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, there's different ways. Like for some people, not sitting and dwelling is, or not sitting and dwelling is literally just being able to get out of bed and have a shower. But different
Yeah.
levels for different people. But you seem like an up and coming, a go getter. So what have you been doing?
Yeah, so as I said, like this is a time that you do have extra time on your hands. So I have been doing a course with, I don't know if you know of him, but his name is Les Brown. He's one of the top motivational speakers in the world. This man is in his 70s now, so could you imagine the book of knowledge he is, which is very impressive. But I have actually followed him for 10 to 12 years now,
Okay.
listening to him. So I think I know all his speeches by now, but I'm like a mini clone of him. But I think he's amazing because of his background, what he came from to who he is now, and the people that he inspires on a day-to-day basis. So one of my goal dreams in life was to go to one of his seminars, just to go to his seminar. And I actually got to speak to him in person just about 3 weeks ago, obviously on Zoom. But
Very cool.
yeah, and I was like, wow, that's my dream come true. But in actual fact, it was more than one of my dream goals. So I think at that point, I realized maybe some of us are making our goals too low. And we need to hire them a little bit because I didn't think that I could ever get to speak to him in person. So
that's
yeah.
really interesting. Just that, like we even with the big things that we think these are the over the end of the rainbow sort of stuff or whatever. Even some of that isn't as big as we could be dreaming about. So look, this isn't going to be a review for his coaching or anything. But how you find the course? It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's it does come into fitness as well because, as I mentioned before in my last podcast with you, mindset is a huge thing when it comes to fitness. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to train as well, and it's going to be very hard to get up and start your routine. So doing this course with him is all about mindset and how to change the way we think and look at things as well. So that's the reason why I was doing it as well, is more to get across to some of my clients and how to approach it better and how to understand how different people think about things and see things differently as well.
I literally we talked when we talked about having the podcast. You mentioned that you might mention Les Brown or whatever, so I checked out one of his videos. Whatever about his content, his voice is bloody amazing.
Yeah.
It's I'm not surprised you followed him for 10 or 12 years. You could listen to it for hours at a time, I'm sure.
It's so easy to listen to, and I really would recommend anyone just listen to him. I like that, even 10 minutes, just something. I think as well, you could put like one of his podcasts on and go around the house, do your cleaning, go for your walk, listen to it, throw it on in the car. And they say if you tell yourself something 10 to 20 times, you start believing it. So for me, it's very easy to tell yourself something negative 10 to 20 times, which means you're going to start believing it.
Yeah.
So if you start listening to positivity and affirmations 10 to 20 times, you're going to start believing them as well. So there's good and bad to it, So you just have to be careful about what you listen to and what you say.
I think that's absolutely, it's so true, because we, as like, I don't know if it's an Irish thing or if it's just the way some of us are. We have a tendency just to not open our minds to this sort of thing, and everything is, like, where'd you get the top pennies €3, that kind of thing. It's like it's everything. We always put ourselves down more than we put each other down or other people down, and it's harder to kind of open those. So Have you always had that kind of open mindset, or is this something that you've struggled with and you're just kind of coming to in the past wee while? Or
No, I have always had it. But to be honest, I wouldn't have had it if I didn't have influences in my life. So you can have influences that you're friends with, or as I said, Les Brown was an influence that I have never met. So it really does depend on what you're listening to every day, and that includes the people around you as well. But I was very lucky. I do have, my father's very good, he's very positive. So I have that from him as well. He's very driven. And then once I started listening to Les Brown, that's a different perspective, talking like that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's such a big thing that we don't talk about enough, is that actively making that choice or making that decision is so important. That
100%.
To actually open your mind up, to actually talk positively about yourself, and then and even just that act in itself it stops you when you do start falling back into those old habits. You have that kind of knowledge of, to notice it and to kind of pull yourself out of it and tell yourself to cop on in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You know when you're getting to your limit of when you need to have a little chat with yourself. And like, don't get me wrong, we all have bad days. What they like to say though is when you have a bad day, it's a character building day rather than a bad day. But like that, nothing is permanent, everything's temporary. So if you are having a bad day, it's not going to be like that forever. But it's, once again, you have a choice to think that way or not. But it's very hard to continuously think like that if you're not listening to influences and you're not listening to the right way, like people are thinking like that.
Yeah, 100%. In that video I watched, and look, this might only be a tiny part of what he preaches, but he also talks about, and you mentioned it actually yourself, was surrounding yourself with influences and positive people. Is that something you actually had to? You said you were lucky enough that your dad was that kind of person anyway. But is that something you've kind of done, is sought out people who raise you up rather than put you down?
Yeah, definitely. It does as well. If you, as I said, like I have my own business, so you need to be mixing with people in that similar environment, because how can you take advice from someone who's never done something that you're asking about? If you're going to ask advice from someone, you have to make sure they've done it already, because they can't. So that's where it is very important to mix around other people that are like-minded in that way, or that have done what you're looking to do.
Unreal. Again, I keep going back to this 10-minute video, so please expand if you want. But he talks about one quote that I really liked was, if you do not have a program for your mind will be programmed. Yes. And my mind instantly went to social media, whereby you scroll up your feed, you pull down the screen, and it does this little twirly thing, and you're shown what an algorithm decides you want to see based on what you've done in the past or what you've watched in the past. And that is definitely kind of what's happening, that you have to make that conscious decision to consume what you want to consume. Yeah. But actually it can be worth the extra click in terms of, I want to go to that person's page rather than let an algorithm tell me what it wants me to see,
Definitely. And I think, it's really important sometimes if you are on social media, like some people don't like unfollowing certain things because like, I want to see that, but then they have to make this decision. Me seeing that, is that affecting me as well? There is this like kind of curiosity, but is that curiosity actually going to damage me as well? And we do have to make that decision. Okay, go through what you're following. Is this actually what I need to be seeing every day? Is this going to help me each day? Is this going to change my mindset? If not, get rid of it.
100%. It comes nearly all comes back to that, making that decision and making that active choice rather than being on autopilot, because we make all of our bad decisions when we're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Whether it's food or not doing exercise or just sitting watching Netflix.
There's many things, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I mentioned that is because with the site that we're trying to build, it's going to be, you're going to have to click an extra thing to find what you want to see. But you're the one that's actively choosing what you want to see. We're never going to tell you, look at these people and we're getting extra money from this person, so here's their profile. That's not what we're about. So that really resonated with me, and it really struck me.
And that's such a better feeling towards people. People are getting what they want then, rather being told what they want.
Yeah, and that's even just as a business owner, it's what I prefer to do, that people have their own choices and things like that.
Yeah.
So look, before we kind of move on from Les Brown a little bit, and this is the worst question I'm ever going to ask, but what's the biggest thing that you're taking away from that course? I know you might not have finished yet, what's the biggest learning takeaway?
Yeah, so what I'm actually doing, so the reason, as I said, why I do it is because just for my clients to try and get across to them, I have women that come to me on a daily basis and they just want to improve their appearance, their body. And we think that if we have this amazing body, we're going to be happy, but we're not. You have to have happiness on the inside and then you'll be happy about the outside, because at the end of the day, if that's what you're like gaining on, you're literally, if you put 2 pounds on, you're not going to be happy. So you must be content on the inside. So what this has kind of brought around for me now is I want to work with women to improve their inner confidence and outer confidence. So my course that I'm doing at the moment is Find Your Beauty Inside and Out. So I have 10 women at the moment and we meet twice a week. Obviously it's online at the moment, but it's all about facing their fears, talking about their dreams and goals, owning their identity. Well, we're doing workouts as well. So we're doing the two of them and combining them. So they're not just looking for happiness on the outside, they're going to try and get happiness on the inside. They're also given challenges. So this week their challenge was that we have a private Facebook group, and they had to put a video of themselves up in this private Facebook group. Now, for me and you, that's not hard, because we're on this here now, talking away to each other, never stop talking. And but to other people, that's really difficult. And that's stopping them in their careers as well, because some of these girls need to be online and talking online to boost their business. And that confidence in them is lacking to help their business grow. So their challenge this week, as I said, was to do a video, put it up online in our private Facebook group. And they've done it and they're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was so much easier than what they expected. And I was like, I told you, but it was in a safe environment. They're all feeling the same. They're all going through the exact same experiences. So they feel safe. But once they did it, they realized it's not that bad. So now hopefully they'll be able to do it to more public. So this one is only for 4 weeks, but I'm going to be running one in January, and that's the next one in January, and it's going to be for 6 weeks. As I have other speakers coming in as well, so they'll be sick of my voice by the end of the 6 weeks. So it won't be just me.
The question that I'd have, regardless of the 4 weeks that you're doing now, the 6 weeks that you're doing afterwards, what does success look like if someone's listening to this and they wanted to jump on board? What does success look like in 6 weeks from the start of the course?
So first of all, I'm looking for girls who want to improve their confidence. They want to own their identity. They want to be happy in their body and also understand that they can train now and feel comfortable about maybe doing an online class, but combining the two things, realizing that just me getting this body is not going to make me happy. I need to work on the inside as well. So by the end of the 6 weeks, what you will have is you're going to have this bit of confidence in yourself to know I can do this. I can do it on my own. I don't need to ask anyone. I don't need help from anyone. I can do things on my own. It's about changing your mindset. So they are changing their mindset as the time is going. They're being more positive. They're given challenges. So like that, I said, one of the girls, she needs to be able to talk online for her business. She's done that now this week, and now she's able to go and do it for her business. So there's so many different nuggets in that they will be picking up on.
Yeah, it sounds amazing in that it's holistic. You're not just going with the body. You're not just worried about the mind. It's taking in everything. And I think one of the most important parts of that is that it's, as you mentioned yourself, it's a safe space for people.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. And that's what I keep telling them, they're all here for the same reason. No one's going to judge you. No one thinks something different. And I always say your story could be someone else's survival guide.
That's a very good phrase. We might steal that on you, Kelly. That's a brilliant one.
You can take it. I give you permission.
So you're talking about people who want to come onto this course. It not necessarily. It's a kind of, like I said, it's a holistic thing. Do people need to have their goals in mind, or is this something they can come along and just go, no, I just want a bit of confidence and that's it?
100%. They don't need to know anything. They don't have to know anything. They just maybe want to improve, or sometimes we don't even know what we want. And that's been a bit lost. So who, if you feel a bit lost, it's perfect for you as well. It's just going to give you a different frame of mind and build you up. And then also see that other people feel like this as well. I'm not alone.
I think that's really the word you used there, lost, was a really interesting one, because that's one of the major causes, in my experience at least, of kind of mental health issues and anxiety, is that lack of, and it's a societal thing. It's not fitness. It's not anything like that. It's a much bigger problem. Is that when people feel lost and they don't have that big end goal or the purpose, that it's just harder to feel like you have this self-worth that everyone does have intrinsically. And I just think taking action is more important than having this big end goal, but it's
Yes.
hard. So that's what I would encourage anyone to do. Anyone who's listening who even wants to know a little bit more, get in touch with Kelly. I'll give you the details at the end.
Definitely.
I think that's definitely something that would interest me if I was in that situation. So Kelly, that's a really cool thing that you're launching.
Thank you. And I think as well, sometimes we have to remember we don't always need to know what's next for us. We don't always have to know. Maybe there's a reason why we don't know. And I just think all that you can do is do what you're doing now.
You're taking words right out of my mouth, Kelly. I've been preaching that stuff for the past week. It's a really big thing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's just, it's just about being confident. Just even if you make a small goal for a day, your goal could be like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk today. That's a goal. And that's where, we have to remember just doing what you're doing today is successful.
Yeah, and I think that it all comes back to decisions and not being on autopilot, because if I was to look back when you're on autopilot, you might look back and go, shit, all I did today was go for a walk. Yeah. But if you've consciously made that decision that today I'm going to go for a walk and that's all I'm going to do, you can relax that evening knowing that you've not just achieved your goals, but you consciously made that decision, and it's not as if you didn't set
you followed
set that
through. You followed through on your decision. Yeah, 100%, and you feel amazing after that.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of building on from there. So you did speak about not knowing what's next, and we are recording this on the 27th, so we're not 100% sure what's going to be happening next week when this comes out in terms of gyms and things. But if we assume, like it seems like it's going that way, that gyms will be opening, or at least kind of one-to-one, people can do one-to-one sessions in there, how would you advise people to kind of mentally approach that, to in terms of their mindset, approaching going back into the gym? We kind of talked a little bit about the physically part of it with Alan Devan last week. How would you kind of approach that psychologically and mentally?
Yeah, some people are going to find this really hard, especially if they haven't been really training. Some people have been doing online classes, but, sometimes that's not suitable for everyone. So to go back in is going to be difficult for some people. What I would say is that once again, everyone's going in at the exact same time. Everyone is going, it's like everyone's joining for the first time again. So you're not alone. Second of all, if you are going just into a gym, there's so many little things that you could do. Like you could call the gym and ask them, what time are your busy times? What time are you going to be more quiet at? If they want to go in at a more quiet time, that's more, a little bit more relaxing for them to walk in the doors. If they're going for the first time as well, they could also call the gym and be like, look, I am a bit nervous about going in. I haven't gone to the gym before, but I do want to start now. Is there any way that I could book to see someone when I come in that can go through a few machines with me? Or even go in with a friend as well. But the most important thing is to remember that everyone is in the same boat right now. Everyone,
I think the one of the biggest things you mentioned there was the communication, because everyone can deal with any situation that you're thrown with as long as we kind of communicate. If you go in there and you try and act Billy Big Bollocks and people are kind of looking at you going, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, or thinks he's new, no one's going to kind of give you that space that you think that you might need. But if you're communicating with the staff and things like that, it's just communication in general. It just makes life a little bit easier,
100%. And like as fitness instructors, we know that people do struggle with this, so that's part of our job. And for you to just pick up the phone and give them a call beforehand, they'd be really happy to help you. And as I said, that's part of their job, so you're not putting them out. If you're giving them something to do for the day, so, but it's always worth giving them a call and saying, look, I am quite nervous about coming in. And when you tell that to a staff member, they are going to take care of you.
Yeah, 100%. There's so like I've noticed it even just from the podcast and just chatting to people in the industry. We sometimes paint the industry with a negative brush because of what we see on maybe social media, but like the 99.9% of people in the industry are really sound, really nice, just want to help, and that's why they're in the industry, you know.
Yeah, you might end up chatting chatting to them for too long and end up not getting a workout in. That's the problem.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the problem. Well, look, the first session maybe that's the best thing possible. So look, Kelly, I want to ask you one question before we head off.
Yeah.
And it's not something we prepared or anything like that. So let's see how you react.
Oh.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received. Oh, this is an easy one to me. Someone else's opinion of you is not your reality.
That feels that feels a bit like a Les Brown quote, is it?
It is, and I actually have it on my wall. Because a lot of the times we live on other people's opinions, and it's stopping us from doing that in life. And it's stopping us from us being what we want to do or get what we want to do because we're trying to make other people happy. You're never going to make anyone else happy. You can make them happy by making yourself happy.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's the kind of a thing that I've come to realize in the past wee while. But I've definitely been in situations when I'm younger, and it's harder when you're younger, I'd say, that it's hard to not care about what people think.
Yeah.
Again, so following on from the best piece of advice you've ever received, is there any advice you'd give to someone who is in that situation where they're really it's all consuming them what they're worrying about other people's opinions?
Yeah, and it's not even so much their opinions. It could be maybe people are scared to put up a photo on Instagram because they think it. Someone may not even have an opinion, and I just feel you're wasting so much of your life living for someone else. And I heard something before that if you depend on someone else to make you happy, you've got to remember they could take that happiness away from you very quickly. But if you make yourself happy, it's you who takes it away or not anyone else.
No, 100%. It's definitely something that we've all struggled with, I'm sure, especially when you're younger. But it's one of those things that comes with age, and I'd love to just start bringing that down that age a little bit where that happens a bit quicker for people.
I think we will start to realize at one point no one actually cares. No one cares. We're all too busy. Life is too busy at the moment to care what other people are doing. But it's so true that if other people are there to make you happy, they can take that happiness away from you. If they just leave or don't talk to you, or that's it, your happiness is gone. So you've got to make your own happiness.
Oh, I love that. And it's a perfect way to finish up, Kelly. So thanks so much.
No problem at all.
So you can, of course, get in touch with Kelly on thegymadvisors.ie/Kelly Fit and Dance. And she's also got her studio is up there as well. So you can contact her both ways. And look, we talked about the program she is launching. So that is something I would definitely recommend just to get in touch. But you're on social media as well?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Kelly Fit and Dance, and that's my own one. And then I have Kelly Fit and Dance Studio is my studio Instagram, and then on Facebook it's Kelly Fit and Dance.
Nice one. And you, just like Alan last week, you are one of our affiliates on the Gym Advisors store. So for the non-YouTube listeners, I have a bit of a display behind me so you can get your hands on some of that stuff with a 10% discount. Kelly, can you tell people your discount code?
Yeah, it's KC10.
KC10 on store.thegymadvisors.ie, and you can use that for a 10% discount for yourself with free next day delivery on orders over €60. And I keep saying it, but I'm trying to be a better salesman, and it'll never happen. I'm just not good at this. I'm closing my mind. I shouldn't be like that. Yeah. Kelly, this has been absolutely amazing. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
To the rest of you, as always, hasta la fitness, baby.